Welcome, dear seekers of knowledge, to Book Therapy, the channel where we unlock the secrets hidden in the world's most mysterious and enigmatic texts. Today, we embark on a journey into the depths of one of the most controversial and misunderstood books ever written. The Book of the Law, authored, or perhaps dictated, by Aleister Crowley, claims to be a revelation from a supernatural entity, a prophetic message that has echoed through the occult world for over a century. But what exactly is this book? Is it the key to spiritual liberation, as Crowley claimed? Or is it a dangerous manifesto that some believe opens doors better left closed? With its cryptic verses, radical philosophy, and a backstory shrouded in mystery, this text has ignited both fascination and fear. Some call it the ultimate guide to personal enlightenment, while others warn of its potential to mislead and corrupt. So, could the Book of the Law truly be the most dangerous book in history, or is it simply a misunderstood work of genius? Together, we'll explore its origins, unravel its cryptic messages, and uncover the man behind the myth, Aleister Crowley, a figure as polarizing as the book itself. Buckle up, because this is going to be a deep dive into the unknown. Let's get started. To understand the Book of the Law, we must first understand its author, Aleister Crowley, a man whose name has become synonymous with the occult. Born Edward Alexander Crowley in 1875 in Warwickshire, England, Crowley was raised in a strict Christian household. His parents were members of the Plymouth Brethren, a fundamentalist sect that shaped his early years with rigid religious doctrine. However, even as a child, Crowley showed signs of rebellion. He rejected the puritanical worldview of his upbringing, finding it stifling and hypocritical. By the time he reached his teenage years, his disdain for organized religion had blossomed into open defiance. Crowley attended Trinity College, Cambridge, where he initially pursued a degree in English literature. But his academic pursuits were soon overshadowed by his growing interest in mysticism, alchemy, and the occult. A voracious reader and an insatiable seeker of hidden knowledge, Crowley delved into ancient texts, magical practices, and Eastern philosophies. His travels took him across the globe, from Egypt to India, where he studied yoga, meditation, and ceremonial magic. Crowley's eclectic spiritual journey eventually led him to join the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, a secret society dedicated to the study and practice of the occult. Although his time with the order was tumultuous, it was a pivotal step in his path toward becoming the self-proclaimed prophet of a new spiritual era. By the early 20th century, Crowley had declared himself the Great Beast 666, a title he embraced with both pride and theatrical flair. He was a man of contradictions. A poet, mountaineer, magician, and provocateur, whose life was as scandalous as it was intriguing. His flamboyant personality and unorthodox beliefs earned him both devoted followers and fierce critics. But love him or hate him, there's no denying that Crowley left an indelible mark on the world of esotericism. Now, let's set the stage for the creation of the Book of the Law. The year was 1904, and Crowley was on his honeymoon in Cairo with his new wife, Rose Edith Kelly. By all accounts, it was an unusual honeymoon. Crowley, ever the seeker of mystical experiences, had taken a deep interest in ancient Egyptian religion. The couple spent their days exploring the Great Pyramid and other sacred sites, immersing themselves in the spiritual energy of the land. The pivotal moment came when Rose began experiencing what Crowley described as a series of psychic episodes. She insisted that a supernatural presence was trying to communicate with them. Initially skeptical, Crowley decided to test her claims. To his astonishment, Rose correctly identified various details about Egyptian deities that she had no prior knowledge of. This convinced him that something extraordinary was happening. On April 8, 1904, the entity identified itself as Aiwass, a messenger of the gods, and began dictating what would become the Book of the Law. Over the course of 3 days, Crowley transcribed the messages he received, which were delivered in a poetic and cryptic style. The text was divided into 3 chapters, each representing a different divine figure: Nuit, the goddess of infinite space; Hadit, the point of view of every individual; and Rahoakuit, the crowned and conquering child. Together, these chapters outline the core principles of a new spiritual philosophy called Thelema, centered on the idea that every individual has a unique purpose or true will. Crowley later claimed that he was merely the scribe, taking dictation from Aiwass. Whether you believe this account or view it as a product of Crowley's vivid imagination, there's no denying that the story behind the Book of the Law is as intriguing as the text itself. It marked the beginning of a new chapter in Crowley's life, one that would see him dedicate himself to spreading the message of Thelema to the world. The Book of the Law is not merely a text, it is a revelation, a transmission of cosmic proportions, according to Aleister Crowley. The book is divided into 3 chapters, each purportedly dictated by a different divine entity. These chapters serve as the foundation for the religion and philosophy of Thelema. To understand its structure is to grasp the triadic essence of its spiritual message. The first chapter introduces us to Nuit, the Egyptian goddess of the night sky, infinite space, and the stars. Nuit is a representation of the infinite possibilities of the cosmos. Her voice in the text is poetic and transcendent, urging humanity to seek unity with the divine through love and liberation. Nuit proclaims, "Every man and every woman is a star," a statement that embodies the idea that every individual possesses unique potential and a divine essence. Nuit's chapter is an invitation to embrace the infinite and to transcend the limitations of ordinary existence. The second chapter shifts focus to Hadit, the consort of Nuit and the embodiment of the point, the infinitely small and intensely personal spark of consciousness within every individual. Hadit represents the innermost self, the core of personal will and identity. His words are fiery and direct, emphasizing action, self-discovery, and the rejection of external authority. Hadit's chapter declares the sovereignty of individual will, encapsulated in the phrase, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." This is not a call to hedonism but a profound directive to discover and fulfill one's true purpose, or true will. The third chapter is the voice of Rahoakuit, a manifestation of Horus, the child of Nuit and Hadit. Rahoakuit is a warrior god, symbolizing the new eon, an era of spiritual evolution and human empowerment. His tone is commanding and, at times, harsh, reflecting the transformative power of the new eon. This chapter calls for the destruction of outdated systems and the birth of a new order aligned with the principles of Thelema. The core theme of the Book of the Law is succinctly captured in its most famous maxim, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." At its heart, this phrase is a declaration of spiritual freedom and personal responsibility. It challenges individuals to discover their true will, the unique purpose or path that aligns with their innermost nature and the greater cosmic order. Thelema teaches that by aligning with one's true will, one can achieve spiritual evolution and contribute to the harmony of the universe. The philosophical underpinnings of Thelema are deeply rooted in the idea of personal sovereignty. Each individual is seen as a microcosm of the universe, a star in the infinite expanse of Nuit. The interplay between Nuit, Hadit, and Rahoakuit represents the dynamic relationship between infinite potential, individual will, and transformative action. Together, they form a framework for understanding existence and the spiritual journey. The Book of the Law is filled with cryptic, poetic, and provocative statements that invite deep reflection and interpretation. Let us delve into some of its most iconic passages and unpack their meanings. The first excerpt, every man and every woman is a star, is a cornerstone of thelemic philosophy. This statement affirms the inherent divinity and individuality of every human being. Each person, like a star, has their own orbit, their own unique path and purpose. This idea promotes spiritual freedom and self-realization, emphasizing that every individual has a right to exist, thrive, and shine in their own way. It challenges hierarchical systems that diminish individual worth and instead celebrates diversity and personal sovereignty. Next, we have the bold proclamation, "There is no law beyond do what thou wilt." At first glance, this may appear to be a license for unchecked indulgence, but its true meaning is far more nuanced. Thelema distinguishes between superficial desires and the deeper true will. This statement is a call to transcend societal conditioning and discover one's authentic purpose. It places the responsibility on the individual to discern their true will and act in harmony with it, rather than being swayed by fleeting impulses or external pressures. The final excerpt we will examine is, "Love is the law, love under will." This phrase beautifully encapsulates the balance between compassion and purpose. Love, in this context, is not merely an emotion but a unifying force that binds the universe together. However, it must be an underwill, meaning it should be guided by one's true will. This principle suggests that love and will are not opposing forces but complementary aspects of a harmonious existence. It invites us to align our relationships, actions, and aspirations with our higher purpose. Interpreting these passages reveals the profound depth of the Book of the Law. They challenge us to rethink conventional notions of morality, freedom, and individuality. Thelema offers a vision of spiritual freedom that is both liberating and demanding, requiring individuals to take full responsibility for their lives and their impact on the world. Through its enigmatic language and radical ideas, the Book of the Law continues to inspire, provoke, and challenge readers. It is not a text that provides easy answers, but one that compels us to look within and confront the mysteries of existence. The Book of the Law was not merely a literary or philosophical text, it was a declaration of a new spiritual epoch. However, its arrival was met with fierce resistance and scorn, largely due to its author, Aleister Crowley. A polarizing figure in his own time, Crowley's name became synonymous with scandal, debauchery, and blasphemy. He was branded by the press as the wickedest man in the world, a title that would follow him for the rest of his life and beyond. The Victorian and Edwardian societies into which Crowley introduced his work were deeply rooted in Christian morality and conventional ethics. The idea that a man could receive divine revelations from an entity called Aiwass, a supernatural intelligence Crowley described as a minister of Ho'oparkrat, was met with skepticism at best and outright hostility at worst. The book's central tenets, including the infamous phrase, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law," were perceived as a direct challenge to established religious doctrines. Critics accused Crowley of promoting selfishness, hedonism, and anarchy, labeling his teachings as dangerous and subversive. Adding fuel to the fire was Crowley's unapologetic embrace of the taboo. His life was marked by scandalous affairs, drug use, and public rituals that blended sexuality with occult symbolism. To his detractors, the Book of the Law was not a spiritual text but a manifesto of depravity. The cryptic verses, filled with references to ancient gods, magical practices, and apocalyptic visions, only deepened the suspicion and fear surrounding the book. But Crowley was undeterred. He saw himself as a prophet of a new eon, the Eon of Horus, a time when humanity would break free from the shackles of outdated religious dogma and embrace the divine potential within each individual. To his followers, the Book of the Law was not heresy but liberation. It offered a vision of a world where personal will and spiritual evolution were paramount, where every individual could become a star in the cosmic order. As time passed, the controversy surrounding the book only served to amplify its influence. By the mid-20th century, the Book of the Law had become a cornerstone of modern occultism. It inspired the development of Thelema, a spiritual philosophy that emphasized self-discovery, personal responsibility, and the pursuit of one's true will. Thelema attracted a diverse following, from mystics and magicians to artists and intellectuals. Beyond the confines of occult circles, the Book of the Law began to leave its mark on popular culture. Its themes of rebellion and individualism resonated with the countercultural movements of the 1960s and 1970s. Musicians like Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin and David Bowie drew inspiration from Crowley's writings, incorporating references to Thelema and the Book of the Law into their work. Crowley himself appeared on the cover of the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, cementing his status as a cultural icon. In literature, the book's cryptic verses and esoteric themes found echoes in the works of authors like Alan Moore and Grant Morrison, who explored similar ideas of magic, metaphysics, and the power of the human will. Even in the world of cinema, references to Crowley and the Book of the Law have appeared in films exploring the occult, the supernatural, and the limits of human potential. Today, the Book of the Law continues to be a source of inspiration and debate. It is studied by scholars, cherished by practitioners of Thelema, and dissected by skeptics. Its influence can be seen in everything from modern magical practices to philosophical discourses on the nature of freedom and responsibility. Despite, or perhaps because of, the controversy surrounding it, the Book of the Law has achieved a kind of immortality. It remains a living text, one that challenges each new generation to confront its mysteries and discover its truths. As we bring our journey through the Book of the Law to a close, we find ourselves standing at the crossroads of mystery and meaning. This enigmatic text, dictated over 3 days in a Cairo hotel room, has transcended its humble origins to become one of the most influential and divisive works of modern spirituality. What is it about the Book of the Law that continues to captivate and confound us? Perhaps it is the audacity of its message, a call to cast off the chains of convention, to embrace our individual will as the highest law, and to see ourselves not as mere mortals but as stars in a boundless cosmos. Its verses are at once cryptic and profound, offering glimpses of a divine vision that defies easy interpretation. For some, the book is a revelation, a divine gift that illuminates the path to spiritual awakening. To them, Crowley was not a charlatan or a heretic, but a prophet of a new eon, a visionary who dared to speak truths that others feared to utter. For others, the Book of the Law is a dangerous text, one that flirts with chaos and nihilism, offering a vision of freedom that can easily spiral into anarchy. And then there are those who see it as a puzzle, a work of art and philosophy that challenges us to think, question, and explore the limits of our understanding. Yet, no matter how one views it, there is no denying the impact of the Book of the Law. It has shaped the course of modern occultism, inspired countless seekers and creators, and sparked debates that continue to this day. It is a book that refuses to be ignored, a text that demands engagement. As we leave this exploration, we are reminded that the true power of the Book of the Law lies not in its verses, but in its ability to provoke thought and inspire action. It is a mirror, reflecting our deepest fears, desires, and aspirations. It challenges us to confront the unknown, to question the nature of reality, and to discover the divine potential within ourselves. So, dear viewer, we leave you with a question that only you can answer. Is the Book of the Law a revelation of cosmic truths, a misunderstood masterpiece, or a dangerous text that should remain locked away? That, dear viewer, is for you to decide. Until next time, here on Book Therapy, where the pages of history come alive, one book at a time.